cousins, a lot of them sold drugs. So I'm up in West Virginia. I was like, man, I need to make some money. And I started selling weed. So I was selling weed out the dorm room.
You got
Then
caught.
I didn't get caught,
Oh,
but
you got caught.
I had some other homeboys that they used to steal from stores.
Mhm.
So I started stealing from me a store here and there. And the thing was is the way you do it is you put the clothes on your shoulder like you going to pay for it,
Oh, so you about to tell all these niggas how to steal?
and then you run out the door.
He's like, and then you run.
He's like, and then,
Met my wife, and that's when I had to find something else.
oh, how y'all meet? You met her in the streets? She's like, oh, look at that thug.
No.
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black But 91. Freaking hell. We're giving you guys a wholesome Monday, yeah? Mature Mondays. I'm going to call it Mature Mondays, where we have sensible people that we review or we react to just to bring some maturity to the dating scene, all right? So I want to talk a little bit about Tony Gaskins, his video with Simone, and he actually talks about why men cheat. And men cheat because they have no purpose. And I loved what he said about it. So we're going to kind of break it down. But before we get to that point, hey, Tony was knocking him down. Okay. Tony for the streets at that point before he met his wife. But there's something really interesting that he says that I want to kind of touch upon. And I think sometimes without the explanation, it can make it feel like the woman did the thing. And it's like when he said about how he met his wife and why he decided to change, you know, of course, the right woman will make you consider, but you've got to make that change as well. So he makes that point as well. So I love what he kind of said there. So we're gonna talk about it. Mature Mondays, okay? Mature Mondays, all right. So we're gonna keep some mature content on this place and stuff that's gonna hopefully heal and help people as well. So Monday days are gonna be great days. And I think it's in America for you guys. You guys have a holiday as well. So shout out to you guys. I think it's President's Day. So love and appreciation. All right, let's get into the video. I don't want to waste too much time. Let's get into it.
Oh,
She was working in the mall. She was working in the mall selling jewelry.
Okay.
And she was a biomedical science major. She was on the track team. And I was looking for like a one-night stand. And so she wasn't what I would necessarily pick as my wife, because I'm in the South.
Wow. Okay, so he's saying obviously at that point in time, he was on knocking them down. That wasn't necessarily do you know? And this is exactly what I was talking about when I said about people like not necessarily Tony Gaskins himself, but people like Tony Gaskins, people who are knocking women down need to meet an immovable force. You meet someone who just won't be moved. It's like that's how they stop. They often don't stop by themselves. So there's an immovable force that hits them and they stop. Now, I guess it's obviously the law of probability. I mean, you keep meeting women, you keep knocking them down. Eventually, you're going to meet someone who potentially could be the one for you. So I guess in that sense, the law of probability would make sense, or law of averages would make sense here eventually. But I think it does speak to the fact that when there's men who have a prowess, men who have, have an energy about them that they you know what, they just get girls, they get women, they can sleep with whoever they feel like. Those type of men usually need to meet an immovable force, and that's what he met, an immovable force. Let's continue.
So my wife, she kind of lighter complected, and I was on this thing of I was kind of looking for a woman about your color, about my color, because it's colorism. And my wife, she's black Jamaican and Indian Jamaican, so she's lighter.
Okay.
But not.
Okay.
My mom is her color though.
Okay.
Ironically.
Okay.
We sat down 6 hours.
The first time.
I realized when I got up that was my wife.
Wow.
So-
How old
So
were
men
you?
really know.
They know.
Yeah, they know.
So y'all
They
be
know.
acting like y'all don't know, but y'all know.
Right,
Okay.
right. You know, you have a feeling.
So
You
y'all
have a
know
feeling.
like instantly, or is it like
I hear what he's saying as well, because it's kind of real. Like most of us men meet and we know. It's the Adam and Eve situation all over again. All right. You meet a woman, and instantly you kind of know what she's about. You meet a woman and you kind of know, like, this is the one for me. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely understand what he's saying. It's the Adam and Eve effect. You know, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, yada yada yada. You know what I mean? Like you meet a woman and you just kind of know. which means that if we keep sleeping with women several times over, this doesn't really help your situation. Meeting women is different from sleeping with them. If you meet women and you get to talking and get to know them, it's different. But if you keep sleeping with them, you're going to have some problems, okay?
After the first date.
It's not instant.
Or even if you don't know, this is my wife, you know she's different. Like, I want to explore this feeling.
It takes time to compare a little bit, like compare and contrast. So what I realize about her is, okay, she loves the Lord. She's not arguing with me.
Okay.
So she's comfortable in her conversation skills. Like, I probably didn't say everything she agreed with, but she didn't debate with me.
Got you.
So it let me know that
she can talk.
She's confident, right? And she was a great conversationalist. And so she also ambitious, biomedical science major in school. She wanted to be a doctor. So for me, it kind of just checked off everything.
So cool.
And it was kind of unfair to her because I was still like a grown boy. And so I was looking at her kind of like, man, I could be a stay-at-home dad. Because I could get out these streets and she going to be a doctor.
She going to be a good mom. She going to be a good wife.
I'll be at the crib chilling.
So wait, at the time that he met his wife, he didn't really have the mindset that he obviously has now. Didn't have the great mindset that he has now. Didn't think in didn't think in the right particular fashion, right? He didn't have the right mindset in this instance. Okay, I mean, listen, can be fair? Listen, everyone's got their origin story. You get me? Everyone's got their I guess everyone's got their kind of arc they got to start with. But his story is very similar to what it doesn't always go right. You know what I'm saying? His story doesn't always end in the right way. Like talking about he was knocking them down, hitting them out the park, yeah, and he didn't really have the right mindset at that point. So I'm interested to find out what makes his mindset kind of change. Okay. I'm interested right now, so I want to hear more what he's got to say. Let's see what he's saying.
Watching the game,
right? But
oh my goodness,
God had other plans, and so I was 21 when I met her. She kicked me to the curb 2 months in.
Why? What you do?
Toxic. I was toxic, controlling.
Okay.
I come from that. Well, hey, where you at? You at the mall? Who you with? That type of thing. And she was like, "Nah, bro,
we ain't doing that.
That ain't gonna work."
Yeah.
So she kicked me to the curb, but 6 months later, we bumped back into each other. And then a few months after that, she got pregnant. And then a few months later, we got married.
Wow. So
it went, rather fast.
Okay, it's not his life story, so obviously, clearly, he's not gonna go too deep into it. But I gotta ask these questions, man. I gotta ask this question. Did he marry his girl originally? And I'm not just. This is not me even shooting him, because clearly he's made clearly he's obviously made great life choices from what we can see, and he's making it work, right? But it did. I'm just trying to understand. It did sound like you married your girl because you got her pregnant. Not saying that he didn't love her per se, but I'm just saying it sounded like she got pregnant, then we got married as a result. So old school kind of mentality, which is fair because he's from down south, and maybe that's kind of maybe quote unquote that's what they have as a culture. So it doesn't seem abnormal. But I think just listening to it from the outside perspective, I'm like, hold on. So this situation, you was a little bit toxic in the beginning. You weren't really on point. You were thinking about being a stay-at-home dad. You weren't really thinking about the future. Then you get with your wife. Y'all sleep together, of course, whatever happens. And then she gets pregnant. Then we get married. Yeah. Okay.
Fast. 21 when I met her, almost 22. And then we got married a few weeks after I turned 23.
Wow.
So I've been married since 23.
Jesus.
Speaking of
March
marriage,
will make 16 years.
16 years.
March will make 16 years.
I'm gonna meet my husband this year. I know it.
I believe you will. But this is the thing.
Like, yeah.
My question I'm asking, and I don't know his story, so maybe you ladies will know more of the story than I do, is how good was he in the beginning? I want to know, because if in the beginning he had a little bit of toxicity, didn't have the right mindset, I wonder how many years first was there some of this toxicity in the relationship. Again, he's clearly turned the ship around. It's possible to do so. But Tony Gaskins' story is not everybody's story. Most people don't turn it around. I'll be honest with you. So I'm intrigued to find out what was, you know what I mean? What was a turning point for him? How did he turn it around? You know, how did he bring it back? It's not me shooting him, by the way. I'm, again, asking questions as genuine intrigue. I'm trying to figure out, okay, how do we, you know, how do we get to that stage? You know what I mean? How do we turn it around? You know what I'm saying? I didn't say he cheated. I'm saying that he was toxic in the beginning, like he said himself, right? Or should I say, you know, he was on demon time. Yes, thank you, Jen. He was on demon time when he met his wife. Then met his wife, didn't have necessarily the right mindset, and then, do you know what I'm saying? So I'm asking that question, like almost in a sense of, okay, I hear you. So how do we? I'm wondering how we turned it around. I probably have to watch more of his videos to kind of get it. You know, I want to know how they managed to turn it around. That's what I'm asking. You know, because it skipped over into a really nice story, but just before then, it's a bit mad. You know what I mean? Okay, so yes, he was in the streets and she left him while they were married. Oh, okay. I didn't know it was while they was married. I thought it was simply just when, you know, they were together. But if they were while they were married, that's okay. So he had to fix up. So he knows what he's talking about when it comes to making sure you save your marriage and stuff. Okay, I'm definitely hear that. Okay, I'm hearing that. Let's continue on the conversation. Let's continue it on.
Child.
He said, I believe it.
You will. But here's the thing.
It's good bad though.
I know.
Because
okay, so tell me.
A lot of times men wait till you build your brand to a certain level. And that's the unfortunate thing. That's the unfortunate thing with women today who are go-getters. A lot of times you get a man that you wouldn't otherwise have really clicked with if you weren't who you are.
What in what capacity? You mean like
in the sense of money and notoriety, and like meaning he probably would have liked you and said, "Oh, she pretty," but he wouldn't have been with you. But when you add notoriety and a trajectory, now it's like, oh, I could kind of ride her coattail, I could manage her.
So how is a woman supposed to know the difference between?
Because I feel like it's the opposite. The more successful I got, the less people be hollering.
Well, they're not gonna holler at you, but they watching you. It's just about being in position and being in the right place and right time. But also too, you still being watched. So it's still
who watching? Say something.
It's a little more. Hey, be careful what you ask for. Be careful.
There it comes.
Say something, y'all.
So what's the difference between a man that? How do you know when it's like genuine?
Yeah.
For a man, like for a woman, how do you know when it's genuine? When he's genuinely into you, not
your looks or what you can bring,
right.
Your status.
Yeah.
You have to ask yourself, is this the man who would have dated me in the 8th grade? And that's what a lot of times we don't do.
8th grade.
So our 6th grade, 8th grade self, that's us in our purest form.
Wow.
Let's pause it right there. Before I critique this, what age is the 8th grade? Let me just Google this. 8th grade. What is the 8th grade age in UK? Let's just. I just want to know. I can't rock with that. I'm sorry. I cannot rock with that. I am so sorry. I cannot rock with that information. I think Tony Gaskins is great, by the way, and I'm just, but I have no clue how that works. Now I know what he's probably gonna explain it. So let me give him a chance to let him explain it. By the way, you know what I'm saying? I've only watched bits and bobs of this video, so I don't know the whole video. I've only watched bits and bobs. I literally clicked quickly through it. So let's click on it. But it sounds a bit wild to me, but let me let him land. He's Tony Gaskins. Let me let him land.
Wow.
That's us before the world has changed us and tainted us, and before we grow into ourselves.
Wow. Okay.
So it's like, who would have been with me at that point? And that's why.
Okay.
That's why I would never leave my wife, because when I met her, I had nothing in my name other than a driver's license.
Wow.
And so I'm like, she likes me for me,
Yeah.
not for
Anything
who I
else.
grew into.
Yeah.
Is that most valuable?
Nah, I'm not buying that. I'm sorry, I'm not buying that. Yeah, no, sorry. Half of you people, none of you will like you at 8th grade. You wouldn't even date you at 8th grade. Come on. I know it's Tony Gaskins, but you don't have to gas the thing. Come on, guys. Let's use our heads a little bit here. At 13, 14, of course, in your purest form, of course, there are people that will like you. But let's be freaking honest. Some of you had no brains. You had no wisdom. You had no aspect. What the heck? Like, some of you wouldn't even get a look in. And rightly so, because you did not mature, right? You were immature, so no. Let's not that. And the girls are going, wow, what the heck? Why are you eating that up like it's so amazing without listening to what you're saying? Okay. So let's be real. Let's be real here. Okay. I don't think his whole advice is bad. I'm talking about this particular point here. When you want to know if someone's real or not, they have to like you. That's where he should have left it. If you want to know if someone wants you, they should like you, not for what you do per se, but it's a part of it. We had this whole panel on this. We did a whole panel on this about whether women want like you or like you for what you do. There's a symbiotic relationship between who you are and what you do, right? And if, in fact, even in the Bible, there's a story. I remember there's a story of a broke wise man, and it said this man was so broke, but he was so wise, and nobody remembered him. Now, I don't know if that's the actual tale is meant to tell us that broke boys don't get nothing. But I think what people can take from it is, even with his wisdom, all right, even with his wisdom, people ignored him because he was broke. They didn't see him for what he was. The wisdom didn't lead into finance and riches. So people stopped. And once he solved the war, this man that was broke, once he solved the war between the two countries, they left him alone. Nobody sought after him. Now, someone can take what they can take from that, just don't be broke. But I mean, in the truest sense, what I'm saying is what you do and who you are, it's got a symbiotic relationship. But if you want to know, somebody should love who you are. And it's more than what you do. For instance, I do YouTube. But if you love what I do on YouTube rather than actually know me for who I am, what do I like doing? What am I about? My life story, what my visions and goals are, and embracing the whole of me, you gonna miss me, right? What happens is, for both men and women, is that people get attracted to parts of people, not the holistic person. So for instance, if I'm a YouTuber, you might love the fact that I have status. I mean, quote unquote status. And we're just giving an example. I mean, there's more people with status in the world, but someone might love the fact that, oh, he's a YouTuber. I see him on the YouTube. He sounds amazing. But when they actually get to know me, they're allowing the status to override actually knowing me and loving me. Right? Okay. So this is important, right? And same with men, do it to women as well. When when men like women, if you only like her because she's a baddie and you don't get to know her mind, what she's about, what she's carrying, what her vision, her goal is, her ambitions, how she sees her life, what it looks like to be. If you don't get to love her family, you don't get to know her family, you don't get to know what she loves and what she upholds, what her values are. if you don't, the person should want to find out all these things about you when they love you, when they like you. You know, there's an exploration into that. If I'm so focused and my only comment is how bad you are, how sexy you are, how amazing you are, I'm going to miss you. I'm going to miss you. I'm going to miss who you truly are, the essence of who you truly are. Yes, at 13, you can't give me the true essence of who you are. At 13, you can't, right? Well, in this modern day and age, maybe in the Bible you could, but in this modern day and age, you can't give me the essence of who you are. You're still growing, you're still learning. And a lot of us were naive, immature people, as pure as we might think we were at 12 and 13. A lot of us are tainted at 12 and 13. So even a 12 and 13-year-old you is tainted, a lot of us. We've gone through things. We've been battle scarred. We've been beaten, hitten. Some of us have encountered our first love. Some of us have been cheated on. Some of us have been having sex. There's so many different things that happen at 13 to a lot of people that you're not even pure. The word pure would not be the right word to use. So I would say, rather than focusing on a time in your life, it's about who you are as an essence. Who are you? And does that person like who you are? Right? For instance, let me give you an example. I love to be a bit silly. I might dance in the street. And if a girl tells me, listen, I get the ick. You know what? I get the ick when I see you dance in the middle of the street. I love what I do. That's part of my personality. I'm extroverted. They don't like me per se. That's me. You know what I mean? That's me. I'm a bit funky. I'm a bit extroverted. I'm a bit out there. And I'm a bit mad. So if you don't like that, then you don't really like me. And that's okay. That's okay. That's a big part of me, being extroverted, being out there, being, boisterous. And if you don't like that part of me, that's fine. I'm not the right person for you. You see what I'm saying? So someone should like who in essence you are. Who are you? Who are you? You need to discover that first, so that you carry that and you walk that and you live that and you breathe that. And then I can decide whether I'm going to buy that. A lot of us don't actually know who we actually are. And so the problem is, what happens is you then carry a false sense of identity, and the person buys that false sense of identity, or they too are also carrying their false identity, and you're both buying each other's false identities. Then when you really discover who you really are, you're like, God damn, I don't like y'all. Yeah. So at 13, this is just my adjustment to what he said. You do not know who you are. Most people do not. It's a rare percentage of 13-year-olds who know exactly who they are. So I would add to what he said and say, just take out the 8th grade pureness. I kind of get where he's going with it, in a sense of being pure, but nobody's pure. We live in a world where nobody is pure. Your purest moments when you came out the womb, and after you came out the womb, from then onwards, you were no longer pure. Sorry, my sound went there. Have you discovered what you who you are, what you like, your dislikes, etc., etc.? Have you discovered all of that as well? Then it means that you can live, walk, breathe, and talk it, and that when someone meets you, as soon as if they like it or they don't like it, you can make a decision from that. That's what I would add to that.
Able to a man?
No, ironically, today men are okay buying a woman.
Jesus.
Men are okay having a woman.
This is fair point.
Who only want them for money.
Yeah,
that's true.
Because you see a lot of ugly men with beautiful women.
Ugly.
For sure.
And it's
Who
like,
ugly?
now, and it's kind of like, come on now,
It's
bro.
like,
You
that just-
know that
that-
woman
that
is
just-
not
it's
attracted to
something.
you.
Ooh, you
it's
know
something-
she ain't attracted to you.
Right.
It's something with your eye.
Yeah,
Ooh,
dude.
yo,
I can't put my finger on it, but it's something with that
crossed.
back, the back of that neck.
But he make millions. And so it's like, it's kind of like, guys.
But men do they not feel an emptiness in them when they know that girl is just a trophy? She's just with them for money. She's just with them for status. And okay, we're gonna play this role or whatever. Does that not make them feel not whole? Do they not feel?
They do. That's
Okay,
why. That's why that type of man always cheats.
Oh,
That's why we always hear about them. That's why we always hear about.
Now,
When you think about it,
sense.
Because
Lord have
because
mercy.
he knows she is with him because
If
of
I
who
didn't
he
have
is.
all this stuff, you wouldn't be with me.
Right. So he doesn't want to be
So
faithful
it's not
to her.
genuine anyway.
It's not
Me cheating on
genuine.
you is
Anyway,
nothing because
so
you ain't
for
here
what?
for pure reasons anyway.
Exactly.
Wow.
He's giving her what she asked for.
That
So
makes
what happens when you are pure and get cheated on anyway?
Yeah.
Actually ask.
right. You just happen to be
Hold on.
ugly, and I fell in love with you.
So my system is moving mad.
It's kind of like, guys.
But men don't. Do they not feel an emptiness in them when they know that girl is just a trophy? She's just with them for money. She's just with them for status. And okay, we're gonna play this role or whatever. Do they not? Does that not make them feel not whole? Do they not feel?
They do.
Okay. Okay.
That's why that type of man always cheats.
Oh my
That's why we
God.
always hear about them.
Jesus.
That's why we always hear about
Mm.
them cheating.
Carla said, now run that back again.
But when you think about it and you go down the
That
list,
makes so much
That makes
sense.
so much sense.
Lord have
because
mercy.
he knows she is with him because
If
of
I
who
didn't
he
have
is.
all this stuff, you wouldn't be with
Right.
me.
So he doesn't want to be
So
faithful
it's not
to her.
genuine anyway.
It's not
Me cheating on
genuine.
you is
Anyway,
nothing because
so
you ain't
for
here
what?
for pure reasons anyway.
Exactly.
Wow.
He's giving her what she asked for.
That
So
makes
what happens when you are pure and get cheated on anyway?
So I think this relates. I think you made a good point there. This relates to as well about the advertising and what you're advertising outwardly to somebody, right? The men that are buying women, it's because again they've not discovered themselves. Do you understand? Like we said, I think someone said it before. Money is an enhancer of who you are. So if you don't know yourself, if you don't know who you are, and also if you don't do the work in terms of actually repairing wounds as well, you will operate from the wound and operate from the trauma. And a lot of guys do have trauma. A lot of guys are unwanted, undesired, unloved, and they operate from a trauma spec. That's why they want trophy, because the trophy of the woman is that, you know what, I can show to everybody else I've won. That's the purpose of the trophy, is to show to every other man, hey guys, I've won. You know, you didn't see me before. You didn't, ladies and to other women, you didn't respect me before. But look at the kind of girl I've pulled. Look at the kind of girl that I've attained. That's why it's called a trophy wife, right? In that sense, because what you're alluding to is I've won the prize. But that comes from a place of trauma. That comes from a place of brokenness. That comes from a place of you not being healed all the way from your past endeavors, where people have hurt you and you haven't recovered. And so you're trying to show them that, hey, I got you back. But the reality is no one gives a hoots. I'll be honest with you. Nobody gives a hoots. That girl that you thought was that hurt you in 8th grade, she don't care whether you're a millionaire now or not, because you're not her man. You know, out of sight, out of mind. She may know you, may not know you. She don't care. You know, you're still corny to her. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're still corny to her, even with your millions. She knows that you still want to hit it. And you know, you got all the money in the world now. So she's still got the power. It don't make no difference. You know what I'm saying? So trying to prove to somebody in the past about what you did really is operating out of that trauma, you know? So yes, those men will cheat, because the reality is you weren't even attracted to that who that girl is. You're not attracted to who that woman is. You're not attracted to who that person that is in front of you. You don't even like them. You like what they do. And when they do when you like what they do, you treat them like an employee. And employees don't get the best treatment because they are disposable.
Well, see, the thing is,
because I actually like your ugly ass.
Right. You just happen to be ugly, and I fell in love with you, and now you cute to me.
I like you.
With your patch on your eye. Patches?
Cockeyed ass.
But the thing is,
and again, can we just say it again? Please don't choose me if you think I'm ugly. I don't want you to choose me. Okay? Okay? I don't. This too much. Please don't choose me if you think I'm ugly. Right? Please don't choose me. You know, I'm not about that life. I don't need these kind of jokes. There are women out there, there are men out there that will like you for you. You know what I'm saying? That don't have to, say that you are ugly. No, we've already had this discussion. You absolutely know when your girl thinks you're ugly. I'm sorry, you think you can hide it, you can't. because women are very vocal with when they think somebody's good looking. You don't stay quiet. And then you use certain words to kind of promote when you think somebody's okay looking, or they're not necessarily good looking, but they're good looking to you, right? When you start saying things like "you're cute to me," that is an indication that I'm not good looking to you. We know. We're very much aware. Men are very much aware. We ignore a lot of the stuff, but we're very much aware. Okay, so we know when we're not good looking to you, because all those words that come out your mouth about how good you look or we know. We know. Okay, when a girl finds you sexy, we know, because the energy you guys put into the compliments, baby, you won't be complimenting my dress, you be complimenting how fine my face is. You compliment, you know what I'm saying? We know. And I'm saying to you, don't choose me if you don't find me attractive. It's just don't suffer. We don't need to see it. We don't need it for you. Don't suffer. Choose somebody you're attracted to, okay? We want you to. Okay. All right. That's what we're saying. We want you to, okay? Just don't choose me if you think I'm ugly. I don't need this kind of jokes in the group chat. Okay? My spirit can't take. All right. But you women know exactly what I'm talking about. You use words in certain ways to describe your man, and you can't hide it. We know.
If you give him a chance before he has money, then that's the difference. But
they don't be knowing if you're really there for.
We have very low self-esteem.
Okay.
Like 70.
Is that a men thing?
Yes.
A man thing, or a black men thing?
Yes, men have very low self-esteem in the sense of we just don't think of ourselves that highly because we live with ourselves and we're around other men. So a real man is very humble in the sense of he doesn't think he's all of that. And so we already are under the ground, and then the world beats you up more. And that's why we equate our self-worth to our net worth. And the less you have, the less you feel. The more you have, that's when you see guys get money, they all of a sudden have this confidence.
And it's switching up.
Right. It's like, why are you so direct now?
With your ugly ass. You want to go buy that Louis Gucci suit and you think you... I don't know.
It's like,
but I've seen men that are not that attractive,
exactly like that,
but they have a lot of money, and now it's like, oh, they didn't got their teeth done.
That's all they flash.
It's like, look, I'm on this vacation, but I'm like,
it's look at me. But it's like, well, yeah, cover your face too. All that look at me.
Simone is rude.
Now, see, this is the thing though. As I'm
Simone is freaking rude.
One of the things that I always get in trouble for is people always say, well, who are you? And who gave you authority?
So if somebody asked you who you are, what would you say outside of your occupation, your finances, and what you do?
If they ask me, what do? I say I'm an author. I say I'm an author. Then I'll say I'm a life coach because they know of that.
But I'm saying outside of that,
and a speaker.
The deeper question of who are you?
I'm a servant.
Okay.
I'm doing something that I don't want to do.
Okay. Ooh.
That's fair.
Like no man wakes up and wants to give away the game.
Wow.
No man.
I don't know about that. I mean, I ain't gonna lie to you. I woke up one morning and said I want to give away the game. It would make sense. I want to help the sisters out. So, but I hear what you're saying. You know, as a servant, you don't necessarily want to. When God calls you to something, oftentimes it's not what you actually want to do. I think that's what he's trying to aim at. When God calls you to something, oftentimes it ain't always what you want to do. Like it don't align with everything you want to do. It don't feel as good as you want it to feel, but you go because you are a servant and you trust in the Lord's direction. So I get what you're saying in that respect as well. I get what you said in that respect. You know, I definitely hear you as well. I know, ladies, listen, I know you think you're slick, thinking that, you know what, the men will never know. We know. Okay? We know. All right? I know you want to feel like you're superior. And that, you know what, they never know. But listen, if a man is in tune, if I can spot when your hair changes and your nail changes, when your breathing changes, when I can tell even by the way you walk, something has changed, I'm gonna know if you actually like me or not, or whether you think I'm attractive or not. Because some of you, honestly, I tell women this all the time. Some of you don't listen to yourselves. You think you're being clever, but you be saying stuff, and then I'll be like, You didn't hear what you just said. Even the way you describe your man, we will know. We will know. Even the way you describe your man, we will know. Even when you talk, we will know. You know what I'm saying? When you tell your stories, we will know. We will find out. Don't worry. We'll find out. But then again, not all men are attentive like that. So you know what? Frick it, you're absolutely right. Do you know what? You're right as well. There's a lot of men who probably they don't pay attention. So you know what? You're right. You know, you're right as well. Because there's a lot of men who don't even pay attention. You know what I mean? You changed your hair last week and they don't even realize. You know what I mean? But as for me, you better find me a guy that's attractive. Okay? I'm sorry. No, I'm not choosing love over look. Sorry. I can't do it. If you choose me, I want you to find me attractive. I never said you need to find me the most amazing, good-lookingest man in the world. I want you to find me attractive, straight up, point and blank. I don't want to hear the bullcrap about your character is amazing. That's great. That's great. And I appreciate that. But there's so many other women out there who think I'm attractive. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Don't choose me. I'm saying there are other guys out there who don't care. Me personally, I care. I want you to find me attractive. I want to find you attractive. I've got great character. I absolutely love that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, so, you know, I've been in relationships where people really care about you, really love you, and they find you attractive, and it's beautiful. That mutual attraction that you guys have is, you know what I mean? Just wonderful, you know? But, you know.
Don't want to do. And that's how you know it's God.
And that's how you know.
And I have to do it.
Because I don't want to do it.
I have to do it. I have to do it. I've tried to stop, but it's so many toxic voices in the space, and there's so many guys lying that it forces me to keep talking.
I ain't gonna say it.
It forces me to keep talking. But I was a womanizer. And so for me,
so you know both ends.
Right.
You know both lives.
Exactly.
I feel like that a lot of times.
And see, the thing about it is what we call a lane, what we call a square. Like they call me that now because of how I live. They call me a simp now.
That's true.
But before I changed my life, I was that guy in the sense of you're a football player, you okay looking, you got muscles, you got abs, you got a car, you got phones, you got everything that you need. And so I was sleeping with so many women as a broke man. Because of when you broke.
I need B Simone to keep quiet. I just need her just to zip it a little bit. I love B Simone, but B Simone just the constant and then just let him land a point, because it's giving every point that he's making is so deep. It's not that deep. Some of the points are just basic points that we're making deep. And it's like, yo, let him land the point so he can land the plane appropriately. You know what I mean? Just let him finish the point. You know, I want to just have that little bit of thingy so that we can hear the fullness of the point. You know what I mean? Like just that. That's what I'm asking.
Your money is, are you athlete? Do you have a car?
Are you popular?
From a decent family? Are you popular? So my freshman year of college, I went to a school that had 1,600 students, and I slept with 14 women in the first semester.
Jesus.
And then 14 women in the second semester.
Tony.
And then 9 women over the summer break.
Lord have mercy. Get them spirits off you.
I was moving. But here's the thing. Where I'm from and who I was around, that was
over 30 bodies.
Like I was on the low end.
That's common.
I was on the low end.
Especially as an athlete, as a college athlete.
Right.
Yeah.
I was on the low end.
Wow.
I was on the low end because I had quote unquote standards.
Okay, you guys, before we continue on with this episode,
no, baby.
Talk about something.
Then find and book a
I hear you,
but listen, it sound good.
I know, but I'm saying try to change.
It's
like
hard.
I don't want to promote myself.
I to stop being cheated on and beat on and going through toxic, vicious cycles. And that's why I started doing it. And I did it before anybody. And now they'll call me such and such 2.0. Because
I started this.
Because a lot of guys clout chase.
Yep.
You'll see the fake relationship coaches in the comments on the blogs, blog posts every day.
Yep.
Making a post to get thousands of likes. You ain't never seen me in there.
Yeah.
You ain't never seen my comment on a blog site, on a gossip page, Instagram.
Yeah.
Because I don't clout chase. But they'll clout chase and they'll run their numbers up, but be cheating.
I mean, listen, I hear what you're saying. I would say that, you know what, sometimes it's also a tactic. I'm a strategist. I'm gonna be on the gossip page. Okay. Listen, I just went on the last one and I spoke about what somebody had said and I just made it funny comment. You know what I mean? But then again, he's talking about particular relationship coaches. I know what he's talking about. So let me not be facetious. You know what I mean? He's talking about certain men using these spaces as clout chasing tactics rather than actually trying to be genuine good content. You know what I'm saying? But I also say as well, just like him, I'm a bit similar to him in the sense of when it comes to my work, I may not always promote. Do you know what I mean? I may not always promote, but that can also mean that sometimes you can see other people who do too much. You may feel like they're doing too much. It might not necessarily be they're doing too much. It might just be a really different way to how we do things. Like Tony doesn't really promote. He doesn't like doing that promotion stuff. And I respect it. But other people may not have the same grace that he has. And so they may need to use that lane. Do you know what I mean? Like I hear it all the time the same way. It's like, you don't promote this, you don't promote. I'm like, yeah, you know, it's turn up when you want to, because it's not how I roll. But other people will be like, promote, how they do their thing. And I just got to have grace that, do you know what? They do things differently to me. You know what I mean? But some people generally do clout chase, and he's absolutely right. Some people literally are lying and putting these sweet comments in the chat just to get some likes back. So he ain't lying about that or at all as well. So, you know, two truths there.
Cheating on their wife.
Oh, Jesus.
Or not have a woman talking about love and relationships
Lord
for
have
a living.
mercy.
And so it just kind of, it put a bad taste in my mouth. And that's what makes it hard for me to do what I do.
Because you don't want to get boxed in with everybody else.
And I do.
Yeah.
And that's one of your quotes, right? Don't box me in until
I'm going in the ground.
Until I'm going in the ground.
Do you
bars?
No, I just because it when you
Don't
box
box me
somebody
into
in, it's so misrepresented in your craft.
Yeah.
Like I'm not
only this.
I'm not only this, or I'm not like that nigga.
Yeah.
Like I genuinely want to do this for the love
care.
of, you know, giving people game so that they can have healthy relationships.
Absolutely.
That's what our platform is about. It's about healthy relationships, not just romantic ones, but platonic ones. But, you know, who wants to get boxed in with people who just fake it? It's like those people who are
for real.
Like fitness trainers, but they got their body
done. Yep.
But now they're fitness trainers. It's like that's not helping me
at all.
Right.
Because I can never have that.
I hate that.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
You know?
That went through the truth.
For sure.
Yeah.
Say my bad.
Do you believe every man cheats?
Ooh, now we're coming on
Every
top
man
of
is
it.
capable of cheating.
Absolutely.
And I say that because I don't believe that, but I know a lot of women. Every man's gonna cheat. That I think that's one reason why they do settle. Because I'd rather do this than you know, he's cheating, but I got this, or I'd rather deal with cheating because I'm gonna have to deal with something, or you know, like every man cheats, so oh well, like he's cheating, but I don't believe that. But you said every man is capable. I want you to explain and go into depth because there's women out there listening that truly believe every man cheats. So I'm gonna just take it, and he got money, he could cheat on me.
Right. And that's a lie, because every man is capable of cheating, meaning that every man may desire a different woman after he has settled down with one woman.
Yeah.
But when a man taps into his purpose, meaning if he has children, if he gets a dream job, and that job comes with, hey, you have to have integrity,
responsibility,
in this position. If that comes into his life, then he's able to transition from being what he thought a man should be, because we are taught, and when we're raised, the more women you have, the more of a man you are.
Lord have mercy.
So I was a cheater my entire life until I met my wife.
Wow.
And for the first 2 years of marriage, I still was open to cheating.
Wow.
I still was like,
wow,
oh, this is normal. Like I still was thinking about, if I meet the right person that I could cheat with, I'll cheat.
Wow.
But it wasn't until
How
I
did
tapped
that
into my
shift?
purpose.
Okay.
When you tap into your purpose, now you're responsible.
That's a madness right there, cause that's a madness right there. The man said in the first 2 years of the marriage, I was open. Do you know the first 2 years are even the first 2 years are even the honeymoon phase? So I guess obviously, like someone said, they were living together. So I guess um, you know, um I guess obviously part of that um I guess part of that aspect is they were together for a little while before then, so that means the honeymoon phase kind of um the honeymoon phase kind of obviously went at that point in time. I'm more surprised that it was the first 2 years of the marriage rather than actually it being a thought. The thought isn't the issue. My issue is I'm surprised that it was the first 2 years, because the first 2 years are usually the best kind of years, when you got all the energy, all the strength, it's new to us, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not usually thinking about necessarily cheating unless you were cheating beforehand, you know what I mean? Like, or you were together for so many years and thus the marriages, and you were doing stuff in that time that you're no longer preoccupied by the honeymoon phase of the relationship. So that's what I was kind of thinking. I was like, okay, maybe there's a relationship they were having for a very long time before the marriage, because it's a bit weird that the first 2 years are, as well. But yeah,
for something. Now you have something, and I tell people all the time, if I was a garbage man and I didn't see my children as my purpose, I probably would be a cheater. And to be honest with you, in my life, I never really meet faithful men until they tap into purpose. Meaning they have a job that they have to be responsible for. Like, I know a lot of coaches, like sports coaches, who are faithful to their woman because they have these young men looking up to them. It's a lot of individuals with certain titles. Like, we look at a Barack Obama, we seen Bill Clinton, and it's like, here you are as the president of the United States, and they saying you were getting that sloppy toppy from this other woman as the president.
Jesus.
Then we see it with principals. We see it with police officers. They say a woman loves a man in a uniform.
Yep.
So the question is, what will make a man be faithful? And it's hard. It's hard. So when those women say that, I understand their frustration.
Yeah, I understand it. Yeah.
But it's not true. It just, a man has to be at a place in his life where he says, this is bigger,
more important than
this.
That.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. And that always doesn't come with a certain level. That's not always a level of success, because I'm sure you've had men.
Absolutely. So what we're talking about is understand. Many people need different things, right? Some people need to be scared. Some people need to know by experience that this is not the right thing to do. Others can learn from other people's experiences and wisdom. Other people can learn from actually going through the fire themselves, right? So for different men need different reasons in a sense, right? I think the reality, every man, if you're thinking about, when it comes to cheating, has to really think. For me personally, I start thinking about the consequences of how of how this will impact my children, like in terms of how they'll not only just see me, but also as well in terms of how they will see in a distorted manner the world. Then I start thinking about, okay, my actual partner, how that relationship will be tarnished to a point where it'll be very difficult to repair and have that person look at me the same way that they did before. I start calculating all those things, you know what I mean? And that's how my brain thinks about, okay, before you cheat, there's a lot of things that when it's going to happen after this, it's going to be a problem, bro. Okay, it's going to be a problem. You know what I mean? So you can see how that's how I calculate. But some men are, do you know what it is? I ain't going to cheat because I'm scared. I'll probably get someone pregnant or they need that. Some men have already experienced cheating and are like, definitely not. I've seen how it ends. This don't work for me. So every man needs to find their reason as to why. And he's mentioned that one of them as well in terms of, having purpose. But having purpose installs then the discipline, but also as well in terms of you understand that there's something greater, which is what he ended on, which is the best point to make. what's greater than your actual desire at this moment? If you can think of the something greater, then the thing that's right in front of you now lessens. So if I'm going to do this, but yeah, if I do this, the greater cost of this is, the greater cost of this situation is that my children going to suffer. The greater cost of that situation. So, so I definitely hear him on that, purpose, and it's making a lot of sense.
That you were, life coaches to who are very successful but haven't tapped into their purpose, which is two separate things.
Yeah.
And I think for us as women, we have to be mindful of a man that's successful and a man that taps into his purpose.
Right.
Because those are two separate things.
Total different things.
Because you can be.
And also, from a Christian point of view, you don't your purpose has nothing to do with your calling. I think this is, I shouldn't say nothing. From a Christian point of view, when we're talking about purpose is not what you're doing. Purpose is who you are, right? Calling is what you do. So from a Christian perspective, purpose is literally who you are. That comes into alignment when you give your life to Christ. You are a son of God. You are a king and a priest. You are the child of God. And so that becomes your purpose, then becomes to worship, right? It's to live in your sonship, to be a worshiper. You know what I mean? That's purpose. Because what you were created to do was to worship. To worship you, I live. To worship you, I live. I live to worship you. So I live to worship you. That's your purpose. It's to be that. Then your calling is in alignment with, in my understanding, 2 Corinthians 5 verse 21, when it talks about the ministry of reconciliation. Again, this is from a Christian perspective. The ministry of reconciliation. Everybody has a ministry of reconciliation. And then this relates to Romans 11 verse 29, where it says the gifts and the callings are without repentance. The calling has gifts attached to it that enable the calling to be successful. For instance, when you see me on YouTube, that's a vocation. The calling in this aspect is, how do I use the gifts of teaching, right, to minister the gospel and the word, whilst also infusing it with relationships to mend people's hearts. But it's not necessarily me doing it. It's the Spirit working through me and the gifts that I have. So I can do what I'm doing. Let's say I can be a YouTuber that talks about relationships, and I could be the most amazing YouTuber, but I would have missed my purpose, right? I would have missed my whole purpose, because without the purpose, the calling becomes insequential, meaning the gifts that are there can always be operated in. Let me an example so it makes it very clear. Beyonce operates in her fullest gift, because the gift is without repentance. It can't be taken away from you. God has given you that gift. She's honed the craft. She's made sure it's amazing. She's sick at what she does. She's a top of her craft. She has maximized the gift. But the purpose of Beyonce is not to give her life to the world. It's to worship who? Jesus. Then out of that purpose should be born her calling. Maybe she's a worshiper. And so therefore, she's close to the calling, but she's not there yet, because until she taps into purpose, she can't tap into the calling from a Christian point of view. She cannot tap into the calling because she cannot hear the call. If you get what I'm saying. She can't hear the call. Do you see what I'm saying? That's why it's called a calling. You call and I heard. So the calling is I heard and I went. So you can have the gift, the singing that she does, the dancing that she does, the acting that she can even do, and there are some other things, being fashionista and all these kind of things. Those are gifts which everybody can operate in. They are given to every man and every woman and every child. They're given, freely given. So you're going to have a set of gifts that you're going to utilize, and that gift can minister to the world, right? But the only way that it becomes consequential, meaning it actually has some meaning, is that if the purpose is first, which is I give my life to Christ, and then Christ says, I'm the leader of your life, then when he says I'm leading you, you hear him call you and say, this is the direction I want you to go into, which leads then to the ministry of reconciliation. Because what should happen is, as I'm doing my work, as I'm doing what I'm called to do, people are like, what is it about you? There's something about you. I don't know what it is. What is it? Like, if, you know what I mean? Like, Beyonce doesn't have to be a gospel singer. I think people need to get rid of this. Not everybody is a gospel singer. I think we have to allow people to be free. Some people are not gospel singers. Some people are musicians and they're good at it, at telling stories. And their storytelling will draw people onto them, and they can tell them, this is where my story is coming from, right? And it's coming from the purpose. Me, I've given my life to Christ, right? So then it births that calling, and the calling is attached to the gifts. The gifts are to aid the calling. So as I'm calling, what I'm doing in my calling is I'm calling others to come. Guys, come. Look at this beacon of light you're seeing, right? What you see in me is not me. It's the person who has given me life. It's Christ in me. So as I'm doing YouTube and I'm operating the calling, yes, it's about relationships, because that's a part of the teaching, the gift of teaching about relationships. But the calling aspect of it, which goes into the gospel, is when I start talking about it, how I infuse the gospel or the word into it, what will happen is people should be drawn onto it, right? They'll be drawn, and you can say, hey, this is my life, this is what I'm about, this is why I am the way I am. This is why I do what I do. This is a driving factor behind my thingy, right? This is my motivation behind things. And that's what it gets you to. My Pan diagram of how I think about relationships is shaped by the Bible. When I give examples, I try to give examples of the Bible. The reason being is because that's my Pan diagram. And so when someone asks me, I'm like, this is my angle. So the call, I have to hear it, and then I go. And then I go, and then I do what? I call out, and others will come out to it. Those who have ears will hear. So as I'm calling out and doing my gift and my calling, as I'm doing my vocation, I should be able to hear things back. People should be able to hear the voice, and then they will come alongside with it. So no, you don't have to just be in the church. You don't have to be a worshiper or a preacher or the fivefold. There are other things people are also doing that is a part of their vocation or their gifting. That is also a part of their calling. You understand what I'm saying? It looks different for different people because people have different sets of gifts, and they are called to a certain set of people. Some have a larger pool of who they're going to call. Some will have a smaller pool of who they'll call. Okay? Many are called, but few are chosen. So, yes, what he's talking about is purpose. But the purpose is simply this: give your life to Christ. That's it. Because when something doesn't have use or purpose anymore, you throw it away. The gospel lets us know that the purpose of every man is that he worships God. You can only worship God in spirit and in truth. You can only have the spirit and the truth when you give your life to Christ from a Christian point of view. Therefore, anybody who does not give their life to Christ is not in purpose. You are in your gift, and that's completely different. And you'll notice that it only benefits the world, but it does not benefit them in terms of glorify. Oh, that's the added extra. The added extra part is, does it glorify Christ? Because everything should lead back to, does it glorify the Father? Does it glorify God? Right? So the gift, if it doesn't glorify Christ, you will know it's just a gift. The calling should also be an aidment to show that it's glorifying who my maker is. That's who sent me here, and that's whose calling card is calling right now. Right? Here's my calling card. That's who called me to this particular point in time. So when I'm talking about it, this is it. Do you know what I'm saying? So just hopefully someone can see that part. Yeah. Yeah.
Successful and not be purposeful and be a cheater.
And that is what you just said is one of the most profound things that we don't understand. And that's why I say, let a man's character be his currency. Meaning allow his character to tell you how much he is worth. Because
Jesus.
there
like
are
a high value man, not based off of his net worth.
And this is what I spoke about. We spoke about this when we spoke about when we challenged the high value man. You know, when we spoke about this, this was very, very important, right? Because this is very, very important because what he said there is about character. That's the fair value exchange. When we talk about value, we talk about a fair exchange. And so there's only going to be a fair exchange if my character's good. Because if my character's not good, it's going to be an unfair exchange because I'm going to be unscrupulous to you. So character is the highest we can form, we can go by, So if somebody is of high value, it's because their character is their character is they have a good character, I should say, right? And that's what makes them high value, because that means they will always be integrous in the way they deal with you, which means there will be a fair exchange. And that's what we're looking for, right? When it comes to human beings, that fair exchange. So he's absolutely right. Character is bang on the money.
But his
character.
Because there are a lot of rich men who are broke. And there are a lot of broke men who are rich. And
I hear that.
What a lot of people don't understand is that no amount of money can buy character.
Absolutely.
But when you have character, you will eventually earn any amount of money. So before I had character, I was earning $20,000 a year, working 40 hours a week. Now I earn millions of dollars working 7 hours a week. Because when you have character,
she's like, now I make millions of dollars kicking it with my wife.
Let me add this caveat as well. Character does not mean having integrous character will not lead to riches. There's also principles one must also adhere to. This is where wisdom comes in. There's a complex system that comes into it. Also, that it also may not be your calling that you're going to be rich. I'm just going to be honest with you. It may not be your lane that God calls you to be rich. It is God who allows those to be rich and those to be poor. And when I say rich and be poor, what I should say is he allows people to make wealth. So in this instance, you may not be called to be rich. Maybe when you get rich, maybe you'll destroy your life. Maybe when you get wealthy. But again, everybody's definition of rich is important as well. Everybody's definition of rich also is very important. So let me leave his statement as that too. Everybody's definition of rich or wealthy is different. And everybody's comfortable level is also different. So that's also very important as to what he's saying as well in that instance is that. But yes, your character and your talents and your gifts should make way for you before kings and queens. This is what and this is why I said that there are principles in the Bible that even if you're not a Christian, if you adhere to it, it will make you flourish because the world is built upon God's principles, right? One day it will rain, but one day the sun will come out, right? You plant a seed, you water it, it's going to grow. So there are laws of the land that God has imputed upon this earth that when you obey it, it works. Money has a system because it's built upon a system. If you operate in that system, it should make it work. What God is talking about here, gifts and talents should make room for you before kings and queens, is if you see a video, for instance, we can be on the internet one day and some homeless man can have an amazing voice. And suddenly everyone's like, get this man a record deal, or get this man this, get this. And suddenly his life is transformed simply because of what? The talent. Your gifts and your talents will make room for you before kings and queens. It will open up doors for you, that gifts and the talents. Notice it doesn't talk about the calling. It talks about the gifts and the talents. The gifts that come with things are what's going to help open doors for you. So honing your craft, honing your skill, this will open doors for you. Right? And then character and integrity keeps you in those places. Because many people have talent, but no integrity or no character. And so they get into the door and the door, then they throw them back out of the door again. So we need to have the talent and the skill and everything else, but the character is what's going to keep you in that room. And that's where, I guess, for his principle, it comes into alignment. That is where then riches will come in, because whilst you're in that room, if you can stay in it long enough, you can hear some information, you can hear some wisdom, you can connect, you can speak to people, you can get into people's good graces that will begin to what? Open up more doors where more wealth is able to be accessed. So absolutely. Yeah.
Honestly, my family has a running joke that I don't work. Wow. Like my 8-year-old, my son said, "Hey, you gonna be famous?" He was like, "Yeah." He was like, "How you gonna be famous?" Like, "Daddy, do YouTube." He said, "I'm gonna do YouTube and coach clients."
Yeah.
And my wife, she teased me all the time, like, "You don't work."
Yeah.
Like, you don't. But it's because of the level of focus
And the work you did at the
that it
beginning. Yep.
takes to be faithful.
Yep.
When you eliminate the energy that you expend playing your
Lord have
woman,
mercy. Lord
manipulating your
have
woman,
mercy. Come on.
and you channel that into your gifts
And your purpose.
and your
all
purpose,
that energy wasted.
All that
Right.
maneuvering.
right?
All that
that-
dodging and lying
oh
and
my
texting
goodness.
and passcodes and I was asleep and all that. And you
Right.
could have
You
been
could be
putting that into
your purpose.
into your bank account and your purpose.
I'll be
Oh, my
honest with you.
goodness.
I'll be honest with you.
Lord have mercy.
Any man
Lord.
who is lying or cheating can literally be 1,000 times worth what he is if he became faithful.
Lord have mercy. Lord have
Guarantee it.
mercy.
Guarantee it.
I don't know if y'all are taking notes.
This is deep. Do y'all understand what he's saying? If you are that
I don't understand what you're saying because you keep saying it's deep, and I need you to just relax. You're doing the most. Let the message land. I need B Simone to land. Like, yo, I don't know if you need to do the noises off the mic. Because it's like, yo, she be doing the most. You know what I mean? Like, I get what you're saying, but it's like, yo, let him land. You know, let him finish points. But everything is, this is deep. I'm like, baby, if you he gonna say the sky blue. It's deep. It's like, I love you, Beastman, but please just let him land. Let him land, please, so that we can get the fullness of the point. You know what I'm saying? The fullness of the point. Just so we can have a little bit more understanding.
good at lying and cheating, imagine if you put that energy into
Yeah.
what you're supposed to be doing.
I'm telling you, that's how it works.
That look, can I be honest? Maybe it's just me. It's not profound. If you imagine you put all your energy into doing the work instead of actually cheating, so profound. And maybe it's just me. Maybe my brain doesn't feel like it's like I'm like, yo, that's not very profound. Let him finish off the fullness of the point because he's gonna deliver the profoundness as he's talking. But you know, if he's focused less on the cheating and more, it's not profound at all. It's common sense. If you put your energy into something else and not into the main thing, it's gonna not have the same energy. So then that's what you're making him lose. You're making us lose the essence of how great the points he wants to make. Okay, all right. So yeah, I want to be able to. I want to be able to listen to this. You know what I mean? I just want to be like every time it's like blood. It's like too much. God damn. Let him land his points, man. It's like, yo, because then you're not letting him get out his full thoughts all the way through.
That's crazy.
Because you think that it gotta be this separate like
Thing.
it's a different type of energy, or if it's a different
Nope.
type of thing.
Nope.
Like you have the ability and the
Yep.
gifts to do what you're supposed to do. You pick and you make a choice.
Yep.
It is a choice.
Yep.
If you can go and connive and
Yep.
manipulate and sneak and orchestrate all this shit,
Mm-hmm.
You're an entrepreneur. Nigga.
you're a fucking
Right.
entrepreneur.
Make a business plan.
You really are.
Make a business
You
plan,
really are.
motherfucker. Yo, smart ass.
Right. Napoleon Hill calls it.
Jesus.
Napoleon Hill calls it sexual transmutation or sex transmutation. And in this, what he's talking about is that some of the most successful men in the country have a beautiful assistant who they see every day and they feel sexual energy, but they're not sleeping with her, but they channel that energy into their business.
Wow.
And
that's
so
another level
he calls
of
it
discipline.
sexual
Yep.
sex transmutation. And so I hadn't.
Let me just say this, you know, mandem, do not try this at home. Do not go out there and get a secretary and think that you find her sexy and you know what, I'm gonna be transmutating. Because I'll tell you what you're gonna be doing, you're gonna be divorcing, okay? Because you're gonna be cheating. Don't what did they say to Joseph? Okay. All right. What did they say to Joseph? Joseph said, I mean, what did they say to Joseph? What did they say about Joseph? Joseph ran. Okay. Joseph ran. Okay, so listen, Mandan, we are not going to put ourselves in a position where we have a beautiful assistant. He's not advocating for that, by the way. He's not. He's giving an example of what Napoleon was saying, right? Okay, so that's completely different. But I'm saying that listen, Mandan, we ain't gonna do that because that's gonna end in a very bad way, and you gonna regret it. You gonna regret it. Okay, all right, you gonna regret it.
Heard of it, but I had already experienced it. So when I heard of it, his book Think and Grow Rich, I was listening to an audio book and I'm like, wow, he just explained what I have lived. So I know it's true. Because as a man, yes, your hormones are raging, and yes, you want to have sex all the time. And you want to every single day, 3 times a day. When I was a broke man,
like, yep.
Yeah. And so
Am I a man?
Yeah, it gets like that. But then when you channel it, it's like, here I am with no college degree and over 50 streams of income, meaning assets. Me writing 20 books, me having 58 online courses. Those, each one of those is a digital asset. That's like owning a house.
Wow.
Me having over 1,000 YouTube videos teaching, each one of those earns money.
Wow.
But I have the time and the energy to do it because I'm only focused on my family and my purpose.
Wow. That's beautiful.
And that's what I'm trying to get guys to understand, that this isn't a simp life. It's a
Send
real
me
life.
a simp. I don't care if it's a simp life, a corny nigga. I don't even want to say nigga no more. A man, cornball loser. DM me, cornball. Cornball number 2, cornball number 3. All y'all.
Be Simone. Why would you want a cornball to message you? Why would I message you after that? Why would I? I want all the ugly girls to message me, guys. This is why they can't take you seriously, B Simone. Because whilst you're joking on these platforms, as he said to you earlier on, people are watching. This is why people won't take you seriously. Because what's coming out of your mouth sometimes is just not attractive. It's not attractive. Sometimes the jokes that she makes, it's like sometimes it's too much. Okay? It's too much. So, why would you want a cornball? And I know she's joking about it, but it's like, what you don't realize is people are actually taking it serious, what you're actually saying, as well. So it's like your how do you call it? Your depreciation of yourself. Men are taking this more seriously than people realize. And again, this is a double standard. Okay. All right. This is a double standard. Between men and women, there's a double standard here. And I know she's a comedian. There's a double standard. Because when women make these kind of jokes, men take it very seriously compared to the other way around, right? Men don't skip past that. When women are making crude jokes about sex and men make crude jokes about sex, they don't hit the same way. Men actually take what you're saying very seriously. Is that how she jokes, bro? I'm not really on about that. Yeah, okay. All right, cool. That's what she really is. All right, cool. Okay. So she really is crude like that. She be swearing all the time. Yeah. Talk about she want to ride this and ride that. Okay. Most men don't like this energy. They generally don't. And that's the double standard, unfortunately. But we know already in this world there's a lot of double standards. Men don't like that oftentimes. That's the problem. So it's not that she can't be funny or men don't even like comedic women. It's the fact that some of the jokes that come off end up being a judgment for her, unfortunately. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's the kind of jokes that she makes. It makes it look like, yeah, she's not mature, or she's not, the way she thinks about men, ugly niggas, make sure you message me. It's like, if every time you always say that, you're actually programming men how they should respond to you. And that's the part that someone needs to grab her and be like, baby, listen. And I know if I say this, someone needs to grab her and say, somebody around her is going to be like, baby, there's always going to be a man there for you. All right. There may be. And there may be, and I may be wrong. But if I'm saying that as a general consensus, like making certain jokes, even as a female comedian, it comes off in a particular way. And someone said it, timing and delivery is also important. Timing and delivery is also very much important because the way a joke lands is also the way you deliver it, the words you use, the timing, the delivery. That's all important as well in terms of how someone takes it. You know? And do you need to be funny in this particular way? There's a comedian that I love. There's a Nigerian woman on Instagram, Debbie Scar. I think it's Debbie Scar. If I can find her. Let me tell you something. This woman is funny. She's pretty as well, but she's funny, right? But her jokes are not crude. She's so funny. Like when I watch her videos, I'm attracted to her funniness. But of course, she's a very beautiful girl. Let's not lie. She's hella sexy. But you know, the crudeness of the joke from B. Simone sometimes just a turn off. Like, yeah.
Oh, simps, whatever you want to call it. I want one of them.
100%.
Jesus. No more cool niggas talk to me.
None.
I'm sick of y'all
We're
cool
over
ones.
y'all.
I'm sick of it.
That's funny.
So what would be, because I asked this question to Spicy when she was on.
Oh, relationship coach.
The relationship coach Spicy. Whose responsibility
Is she married?
She is married.
She married. Okay.
She is married. She believes in the family structure.
Masculine husband.
Yes. She believes in masculine and feminine energy in the home.
Love Yvonne originally. She's beautiful and funny.
Is to help you find your
And
purpose mate and restore the family
secure.
unit with having masculine and feminine energy in the home.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked her where we are now and the knowledge that we have, right, with men and women, whatever. At this point, whose responsibility is it on to start to reverse some of the trauma and cycles, the system that we have with men and women, especially in the Black community? Whose response is it on women to just stop accepting this shit? Is it on men to just step up? And you know what I mean? Like, how do we reverse what we've been conditioned to accept
think is okay
nowadays?
Mm-hmm. As a man, I always feel like if it's meant to be, it's up to me. And I feel like if we want to be the head of the household, if we want to be the leader, then we need to lead in love, meaning that we need to sacrifice and we need to walk in love and we need to exemplify the level that we want our woman and our children to see.
Mm-hmm.
But we live in a society today where men are waiting on women to change and for women to quote unquote lead the movement of, hey, you submit to me, you give me what I want. But at the same time, a woman still should look at herself and say, well, I'm going to be the change for myself.
Yes.
And I'm not going to accept this. And it's kind of, it takes us both doing our part.
Work.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. If you notice any post you see online, if it's speaking to the woman, all the women in the comments say, what about the men?
Mm-hmm.
If it's speaking to the man, all the men in the comments say, what about the women?
That's not what this post is about. It's about the women. Take accountability.
That's why we can't move forward, because everybody is pointing the blame and passing the buck, and nobody wants to look in the mirror and say, let me change. But I can honestly say, as a man, when I changed, everything changed.
Yeah.
Wow.
When I changed my ways, then everything changed. My relationship literally is perfect unless I'm imperfect. The only time me and my wife will get into something is if I'm in a mood. If I'm just not feeling good and I get an attitude. But other than that, a woman is a receiver.
Before Shopify, I felt like I didn't even know who my customer.
These damn adverts coming to collect our souls. This is a good point. I might have to end it on this part.
Reflection of what she's
your body.
So he said something interesting. He said he said something interesting. He said the only way it's going to be imperfect is if he's imperfect. And my issue behind that is you are imperfect. Therefore, it cannot only rest on your shoulders because you're going to be imperfect, right? It takes two to tango. And I think that in that line there, I hear it, but it sounds just like it just sounds just like happy wife, happy life. And no, like, because, and I think this is something I learned as well. I must do everything that God does, but I cannot be God. I want to make it very clear. I must do everything that God does, but I cannot be God. And you have to have that differentiation, because what you will realize is I can behave. I'm trying to be like God in terms of my, I'm trying to live a life according to the Son, right? Christ. And so, I'm going to try and be my best to be like him, but I'm not him. So for instance, God has unlimited resources. I do not. There's a limitation to my strength. God does not have unlimited resources. God has foresight that I cannot see. I don't have that. Therefore, I must be able to operate from a space where I am human, meaning I can't control everything and I can't always be perfect in these instances. So let's say, for instance, we get into an argument. Arguments are natural because you're human and I'm human. Now, of course, I also agree that I can take some sentiment from it and behave in a way that's going to open, or even better yet, that's going to allow us to recover well from, let's say, an argument or debate. The way I behave is very important. It starts with me, but it doesn't end with me. It starts with me, but does not end with me. So I have to be also open that the other person has autonomy over themselves. You know what I mean? So that aspect, you know, in that aspect, this for us as men, or even as women, everyone's got their mode they're gonna have and bring to the table. There are gonna be times where I'm gonna miss you, you're gonna miss me, and it's natural. But it is about how we handle those, what we handle about those particular aspects as well. So for me personally, I don't think it should all be on, if I do it right, it's gonna be right. I think we have to be very careful of that method, because that's how you end up in a space where, I don't even want to say someone taking advantage. I want to say that obviously you start making yourself inhuman. You are human. You have mistakes. And it gets to a level of perfectionism that doesn't exist. We have to allow room. But I also understand what he's saying in a sense of, like I said, you get into an argument. How do I handle me? How do I do what I do? You know what I mean? So, I think that's also what it is as well, so that's fair. Okay. Right. Because what I don't want is a precedence. If you've got an exception in your relationship, your exception for your relationship is different to what a lot of people are going to experience then. You know what I mean? Like if you guys are saying that his wife is, monotone, she's level-headed, she all these kind of things, and she's an exception. It's not the rule. So, okay, that's fair. You know what I mean? But if you're saying that every fight happens because every fight would only happen because you are in a bad mood, so you're telling me that the only reason why a fight happens is because you're in a bad mood? That she's never going to be out of pocket? She's a human being. She's never going to be wrong. She's never going to have a moment. You're also, you know what I mean? You're almost that's what I'm saying. You're creating that perfection, and that's where you're going to create too much pressure for yourself. To almost say like she's never going to be wrong. So the only reason why it's going to be wrong is if I'm wrong. Sir, that's where we have to separate ourselves from God and myself. God will never be wrong. God will never be wrong. So how he deals with me, I can never complain. I mean, I will complain, but I can never really complain because he will never be wrong. He's absolutely perfect. I'm not. So that's what I'm trying to, as well. That's a good question, Elsid. So if she is, and if they both are responsible for each other, then I can hear what they're saying. Right? If they both are responsible for each other, then it makes sense that we're both kind of responsible. We have to be very cautious how we, interlude with each other. But I'm just saying that creates a very perfectionist energy. It's like if I'm not down, that's the only way we're arguing. It's like, okay, she's never gonna be out of pocket. Okay.
A woman is a receiver.
Yep.
Right. And
Yep.
so
Like, we are a receiver.
Yeah.
Buddy,
old pal.
what
you
that
so
means,
frustrated with me, and it's your ass.
Yeah.
honestly, what it means
Oh
is
my
that
goodness.
you receive, a
Jesus.
woman receives and reciprocates.
Mm-hmm.
So she's only going to be at the level in her home based on the level her man is at.
Jesus.
So when you see a woman happy and glowing, it's because her man is in the right space. And then when a woman is just kind of barely getting by, it's because he's in the wrong space.
Wow.
Let me tell you this now. Part of what he said is true, but it's not correct. I'm going to tell you something. Part of what he said is true, but I don't believe it's correct. Okay? I'm going to tell you something why. I'm going to tell you something really important. The image in Galatians 5 gives us an image of how God loves the church, that we are the bride. Yeah? Okay. So let me give an example. If anybody's a Christian here, I want you to ask this question. How has your relationship with God been? Right? Because there are woes of the world that happen to you that will take your eye off God. God can be perfect. God can be perfect and do everything right in his eyes, and you will still have an issue with the way he might deal with something, or the way he might do something, or something happens along. Happiness, he's part of it, but he's not the wholeness of it. What I mean by this is he himself, Tony, is a part of her happiness, but he's not the holistic part of it. She has to regulate herself. That's why I said about there's going to be too much pressure being put on. You are a part of it. You're not all of it. Meaning that she has to regulate herself, because even as a bride of Christ, as a child of God, he gives us an imagery of us being the woman to man, right? Being the woman to God, right? And if you look at yourself and how you behave with God, God can do everything right. In fact, everything can go right in your life, and you still find a way to move mad. You will still find a way to move mad. And the reality of that is because you have a fallen nature. And that's why I said I knew it was going to come somewhere. And I was like, ooh, you're putting a lot of responsibility on you being perfect. And that means she will be perfect. No, but I do agree. I have the way I handle situations is going to be how she's also going to look at handling situations. You know? I definitely agree that how I'm going to handle situations will also lead to how she handles situations. But I cannot, I'm being very cautious, maybe. And let me say that, right? You know, I want to be very cautious and say that whilst I may be doing everything right, I can do everything perfect, you're still a human being. And that's what I'm saying. I want to leave that space open, because no matter how healed you are still growing, right? No matter how healed you are, no matter how wise you are, no matter how knowledgeable you are, no matter how much understanding you have, you are still human. And therefore, there has to be room left open for you not being perfect. Do you see what I'm saying? So I hear what he's saying. I'm not discounting what he's saying. I want you to be very aware. I'm not discounting what I'm saying. I'm more giving more of a nuance, because there will be people who hear it and will not fully deep what he's saying. What he's really saying is, you know, what he's saying. So again, I'm trying to extract from it, because some people will take it and hear a man's got to be perfect. No, sis, hold yourself accountable. And I'm going to hold myself accountable, right? Do you see what I'm saying? Okay.
So when we change,
now,
as
is this
men,
marriage, or is this just in a relationship?
this in a relationship,
Okay.
period.
Okay.
And it starts there in the relationship before marriage. But we're in a different type of world today where men are very feminine. Even so-called alpha males. So-called alpha males, you know, they want to they want to have their back out. They want to have their chest out.
He's like booty shorts. I'm sick of it.
booty shorts. They want to have more legs showing than a woman, more skin showing than a woman. They want the woman to shoot her shot. They want the woman to, pay the bill. We're living in a society
Lord
of,
have mercy.
I mean, I agree. I agree with the bill paying and stuff like that. But what is a shirt out got to do with anything? I mean, sir, men men went to war. They didn't even have no. They didn't even have. Some of them were naked too, bro. That's got nothing to do with it. But I hear what he's saying. I get what he's saying. I'm being, what I think he's saying is in the current culture climate that we are in right now. I hear that. But that's always been the way. The skin that's been shown has always been the way. Whether it was a V-cut neck t-shirt, whether it was a t-shirt that cut to here, whether it was the shorts or the trousers that were tight, it's always been that way. You know what I mean? Like, it's always been that way. Men have always tried to show their physique because they understand how it works with men, with women, and vice versa. But I get what he's saying about the masculinity point. I actually agree with him. We have got an inversion that's slightly happening in scenarios here as well. And again, I also want to add nuance to the conversation because I think this is really important. And I realize obviously as well that, and I realize also as well in this situation, that I would say that I realize in this situation also as well that different cultural times will have different limits for what's masculinity, what's femininity. Also within that, yes, Dahlia, that's very true as well. I do hear what you're saying. Once you read the Art of Seduction, you start to have a different, broader aspect in terms of how men use sensuality and sexuality. And I started to open my eyes a little bit. I was like, I had a very similar mindset to him. You come from the ends and that. So, as well. So I think also here as well is this different cultures in terms of right now. For instance, a 50-50 conversation in America is not the same 50-50 conversation in UK due to cultural differences. And also due to the fact that financial constraints are completely different. So when someone says, hey, we're going to go halves and buy this house and we're going to go halves and pay the mortgage, in a lot of households, especially within the UK, it can be more understood. Whereas in America, from what I'm understanding from us in the Black community so far, from what I've understood, this becomes a very techie conversation. Yeah. So that's what so do you know what I mean? But in terms, obviously, yes, in terms of like, for instance, men wanting to be chased, yeah, I get what you're saying on that. I definitely hear that as well. Definitely hear that as well.
What is happening?
It's spiritual
what
warfare.
Okay, thank you.
That's all it is.
Okay.
It's spiritual
I'm
warfare.
like, I need what's going on?
That's all it is.
It's crazy.
It's spiritual warfare.
It's because I mean the Bible talks about that. It ain't about flesh and blood. It's about spiritual and principalities. Like, we are fighting things that
every second of every
we don't
even
see in person. Like, we are fighting shit all the time, and I think we.
And let me tell you something. I got a Who's Your Daddy short ready for this summer. I'm sorry, I have fired up. Okay, I have fired up. I got a Who's Your Daddy shorts coming for you. Okay, y'all call it Hoochie Daddy. It's Who's Your Daddy. And I'm telling you now, Who's Your Daddy shorts, I've got some ready for y'all. Okay, because my thighs are looking good. Okay, call it what you want. You may say it's more feminine. That's up to you. Okay, all right. I wasn't gangbanging and singing the streets. That's not my thing. I'm gonna be wearing my Who's Your Daddy shorts with a little tear in the side so you can see some leg work. Okay, I didn't do these leg work just to be hidden. Okay, to be hidden in jeans. You gonna get these knees and you gonna get this thigh. Okay, you gonna get the quadriceps. Okay, you gonna see some divisions in the quadriceps section. Okay, you gonna get this leg. Okay, you gonna get this leg. Okay, you gonna get a good leg like a drumstick chicken in the chicken shop. You gonna get this leg. Okay, Who's Your Daddy short gonna come out this summer? Sorry. Okay, Who's Your Daddy? That's why it's called Who's Your Daddy, because who's your daddy, baby? Okay.
We get so caught up in what we're fighting and think that we're fighting each other, and it's not each other.
It's
like
not.
we get so mad at each other, and it's like it's not even that. It's others. It's a spiritual thing, like you said.
Yeah,
like that is literally what it is.
It's on both sides though.
Yeah,
because it's a lot of women who are becoming very masculine today.
Oh, for sure.
And it's a lot of women.
I battle with that sometimes.
Are trying to lead the man, and it's a lot of women who emasculate a man. And so there's this thing to where I said the other day, I had to turn off the comments, but I said, a smoking woman ain't cute. And I was just saying, like, ain't cute in the sense of not bashing, but just a colloquial phrase. Like, that ain't cute. But it's a lot of y'all ladies now, y'all smoking. But the smoking.
Are we talking about cigarettes or weed?
Just smoking in general. Because
or hookah.
And yeah, just.
I'll be honest with you. I personally, I don't like a woman that smokes. Right? It's not my thing. I don't really care about it, but it's not my thing. You know what I mean? For me, it won't. Yeah, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's not for me. The smoking part. But if you do like shisha, I don't really care. You know what I mean? Shisha, you don't carry the shisha around with you. You have to go to a lounge. You then do shisha. I can kind of work it. I don't really have a big problem with that. But if you're telling me about you smoke cigarettes or weed, it's not my thing. And I think there are ladies out there who too don't like men who don't smoke weed and don't smoke cigarettes too. So I think it's, it's a little bit of everything,
Smoking in general.
I need to know what ain't cute about it.
I said that
it's not.
I said it's not ladylike, and a lot of ladies got upset that I said ladylike, as if there's not supposed to be a man like and a ladylike,
which is fine.
But we have, and the reason why I said that is because a lot of times, a lot of women who smoke from their brother, their boyfriend, their husband. They were introduced to it by their homeboys. And the reason why I said that, because I had just done a message to the men saying, y'all need to get y'all life together. Stop promoting all this weed like it's cool. Because I used to sell it, and I've never seen anybody stay the same.
Yeah,
because it is a drug, and it is ruining lives in the sense of, I work with college athletes, and some of them can't play because they smoke.
Do you believe it's because of they have an addictive personality, or like recreational or medicinal? What do you believe with that aspect of it?
Well, it's a gateway in the sense of anything we do is a gateway.
Okay.
Like you can
if
have
you don't
you can have
control
one
it.
alcoholic beverage a week,
Right?
But then when stress hits you, then it could turn into 2, and then it's gonna turn into 3.
Okay.
And then the next thing you know, it's a daily thing. That's what happened with me with like red wine. I hated the taste. Then I tasted it. Then I associated it with a stress reliever. Next thing you know, I was having a glass of wine every night. But my mind was telling me this is a stress reliever. And so we are.
So basically, Tony ain't good at that, because some people can drink a glass of wine or even less. I want a little bit of a wine and they're good. So some people are not good with it. Some people are. Like, I don't drink at all. I don't smoke at all. It's not my thing. I've got an addictive personality. I already know if I get into it, it's gonna be a madness. So I've never done it. I've never drunk, never smoked, never done weed. It's just not for me. You know what I mean? But some people can have a bit of wine and they're good. Some people have a little bit of alcohol and they're good. I'm not gonna be mad at that. I have to be okay with the fact that other people are different. You know what I mean? So I hear him. For him, he's like me. He's like, it's gonna affect you. It's gonna affect him. Like, you know what I mean?
Living in a society to where we're becoming so addicted to things, whether it's alcohol, porn, marijuana. We are running from our pain and our problems and diving into some form of medication. And what it's doing is it's breaking us down mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and then it's corroding our relationships. Because anything you give your body or your mind over to, and it has the power to control you, it determines your level, then you no longer have agency over your life.
I think that the idea of that is in more things outside of drugs and alcohol. I feel like people are addicted to social media. I feel like people are addicted to, likes and comments. I feel like people are addicted to food. I feel like people are addicted to
That's very true.
Like shopping. I feel like there are so many things that people are addicted to. And I think I heard a quote one time that said, it said, oh shit, it just left my mind. But it was basically something like anything that causes, you know what I'm talking
you've
about?
said this quote before, causes you to fuck.
I know it was something
I know what
about
you're talking
being alone with yourself, or
something like
like
that, yeah.
being with you and your sober mind or just by yourself, anything that
Is an
keeps you from
addiction.
is an addiction.
Psychologists have discovered that procrastination isn't caused by laziness or lack of motivation, but instead it's your coping mechanism for
That's very
dealing
true.
with your unconscious fears. So
Sir.
want to know the only way you can finally stop procrastinating? So
Tell
let me
me.
show it to you right now, because this
Mhm.
will transform your life, provided you take action on this, and you'll see
Okay.
how powerful this is. My name's Tim Ham, by the way, and I've been in this field
Tim
of
Ham.
human behavior for the last 12 years of my life. I created a company called Success Insider, which
Yeah, all right, cool.
And so I feel like that can be in so many things,
Yeah.
whether it's drugs, alcohol, whatever. I think that people don't want to
Face
heal
the
and
truth.
face who they are.
Yeah.
And when you use these things to escape with what's within you,
Yeah.
then that's when it becomes super dangerous. Like you said, oh, I had a stressful day. So instead of maybe journaling about it, I'm going to have a glass of wine.
Yep.
Or instead of maybe praying
Yep.
about it, I'm going to go smoke some weed. Or
Yep.
instead of, you know what I mean? And I think that's where the danger comes in, is self-medicating and replacing healing with
That thing.
that. You know
Guys,
what I mean?
Yeah. And
sometimes
here's the
I
challenge
self-medicate
for
chocolate. I
everybody
can't lie
is
to you.
this.
Sometimes I self-medicate with chocolate. I cannot lie to you. Cadbury's be having me. Galaxy be having me. Chocolate cake be having me. Vanilla cake be having me. Carrot cake be having me. Red velvet sometimes. You know, that's my weakness right there. You buy me a cake, shoot, the chemicals in my brain gonna change. You know what I'm saying? So,
And this is something that I started to do, is to work out without music.
It's so hard. I've tried it so many times.
And
I-
so if
I'm
you
not doing
can,
that.
Ooh,
and
it's
if you
hard.
do it once or twice a week,
Yeah.
to work out without
Just
music
in silence. Yeah.
and just hear your thoughts.
Yep.
I would probably
And
cry.
another
Yep.
challenge is to have a cutoff time for the phone, where we put our phones down if it's 10 p.m., 11 p.m., based on your life and your schedule. And then also,
that's very real though. That cutoff point is very real. That cutoff point is real. I can't lie to you, because I'll be looking at my phone, and you know, there's a lot of things that can be, addictive, and in all honesty, you know what I mean, there's a lot of things that can be addictive in this life, you know. So we all got our addictions here. We've all got our little habits. Some are worse than others. You know, I don't personally work out without music. I can go for a run without music. So if I'm going for a specific run and going for a run and coming back or whatever, that's fine. To the gym without music, you don't understand how the headphones save your life. Okay, some of the music they play in the gym is trash. You know what I mean? You can't get away from music when you're working out. So, you know, when I'm in the gym, I'm going to work out my own music. I'm so sorry. I'm going to do that. But on my runs, I can go for my runs without music and come back. And that allows you just to think as well, you know? That allows you to think as well. Sometimes I play worship music when I'm on runs as well, you know? You know, sometimes I'll listen to worship instrumental, and that allows my brain to think, and stuff like that. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that could be, you know, that could be a problem, you know. Exactly, Katie. Exactly. How you going? And you think it's just you? How am I going to ignore certain people in the gym when they look at me? I'm like, I saw you, but I'm not going to look your way because you're going to have a very long conversation and you're going to break up my workout. And I want to be able to do my workout in fullness. Okay. And you're going to take away my strength and my energy right now and my momentum. You know, I'm in a good momentum, and you coming along to talk to me right now ain't it. You know, when you're on your thing, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When you're in momentum mood, you know, and you're in momentum mode and you're just trying to, you know, do your thing, and you see the person coming and you, okay, I just need to just, you know what? Sometimes I'll be like, I just finished a set and I see someone coming and I quickly go back on the set. Like I saw you, but I don't want to have a conversation with you right now. That's my way of avoiding you, because you're going to get into my space and you're going to mess up my energy. Okay. But anyway, listen, guys, I've come to the end of this live. There's still about half an hour left of the live. I'll do some more tomorrow. in the morning. I know you guys won't be, some of you, most of you be at work, but I'll do some more tomorrow and finish off that particular live. But I'm gonna head off to the coffee shop. I've got some work to do, some writing to do. Okay, I'm gonna do some stuff I need to do. Okay, all right. So I appreciate you guys. Stay locked, stay loaded. We'll see you again very, very soon. You know what I mean? It is what it is, baby. Much love, man.